And I'm sure that I'd read like Leonard Maltin or somebody gave it 2 stars. So I was just like, no, that movie's dumb. I'm not going to watch it. It's stupid. And if you like it, you're stupid. So I was not going in with much like generosity or openness. Mm-hmm. I know what to do now. Because of this podcast is
right.
You got to open your heart to these things.
Well, right, because it meant more to him than just some movie that he wanted you to see. It meant you understanding him better.
Sure, but I kind of went into it with the same mentality as I did Dirty Dancing when we started this podcast.
Let me show you how you're stupid.
I'm really going to take it to this movie. So I remember laughing exactly once, and that was very early in the movie. That's when Jim Carrey runs out into the jetway. Yes.
Runs off the tarmac? Is that what that thing is called? Runs off the jetway. So I had about 3 minutes of dread because until he did run off that thing, I felt like, oh shit, is this a movie that moves way slower than I remember it? And maybe because I know everything that's about to happen and they're all bits, so jokes weren't landing for me. And then I was trying to think, do I usually laugh about shrimp on the Barbie, or have I said shrimp on the Barbie so many times that I've made it unfunny?
Yeah, you can't tell.
I don't know. But neither of us are laughing. And I'm like, what if I don't laugh at anything? And I was having a little panic attack. And but then you snickered at at something I don't usually laugh at, which is him falling off the jetway.
You don't laugh at that?
Well, I mean, only because I know.
Oh, but it's so well done. I mean, just from a filmmaking standpoint, it's set up so well, it's filmed so well, and it's so great that you see it from the
perspective,
the airline employee guy, like just looking at he's like, because he knows what's about to happen, because it's like that guy just went running into a jetway that's not attached to anything.
Right.
So he just goes to look. That's when I laughed in 2006. Anyway. Patrick was so angry at me for never laughing again.
That is when I like perked up. When you had when the movie showed me it was able to make you laugh at all, except for you then announced that's the only time I laughed last time too. Like, well, farts.
Do you remember? I mean, do you have any like memories of your story with this movie? Do you remember seeing it for the first time or?
God, I have no idea. No, only that. Okay.
Do you think you would have seen it in theaters?
Oh, absolutely. Any Jim Carrey movie, me and my cousin Jamie were there. Would this have been after the second Ace Ventura?
No, it was.
Tell me the order.
So it was 1994.
Just tell me the filmography right around here.
Yes. Okay. So Jim Carrey had this amazing year where he got paid, I think, like $100,000 to make Ace Ventura 1. Then later that year, that becomes this giant hit. He gets paid like $5 million to make The Mask. That's a big hit. And then by the end of the year, he's paid $20 million to make Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, wow.
Because he becomes the biggest movie star in America. In the world. We talked about... We did an episode on Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. That's a disgusting and horrible movie. But we did do a lot of our Jim Carrey thoughts there. Lacey, he's like Lacey's guy.
Yeah, he's in my... He's... ingredients. Yeah. And Jeff Daniels' performance also always felt super secondary and almost beside the point to me. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you looked at me crazy. Watching it this time, though, I enjoyed him a lot. I just always remember thinking, like, he's too good for this. Like, he's really playing like this isn't his kind of role. It didn't fit, and he wasn't as good at it as I wanted Jim Carrey-ness. Just that. You
just wanted the Jim Carrey. You just wanted Jim Carrey turned up to 11.
I don't even know if that's what it is. It's just these little surprises that he does. Like whenever he's singing the Mockingbird song, which I love, and he says that he's gonna buy, and he does this with his face. You're not looking. Yeah, that stuff like that is like, huh? But like if he lights a fart on fire, I don't think that's funny. But I do think it's funny in that scene because he's doing the most Jim Carrey to 11 things he could think to do to show how ridiculous it would be for someone like Mary Swanson to accept him into her society.
This group of sweater-wearing society people all laugh at that. I
find that whole sequence kind of meta because he's commenting on his own comedy. Like, this is not for everyone. Mm-hmm. And if you just let me do whatever I want, it's going to get real bad. Yeah.
Which is always my problem whenever I watch anything with him from this era, at least, I'm so put off by it.
Well, because I never looked into it, but you've got to think his script just says Jim Carrey does something wacky on it. Yeah, and how many takes are there?
I don't know. I didn't do any research into this movie.
I did none.
Yeah, this was directed by Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers. After this, every movie they made, they would both be credited as the director. But this was, I think, his first movie as a director. He a few years ago won the Academy Award for directing the Best Picture of 2018, Green Book.
Oh,
yeah.
What a journey.
I watched that movie and I described it to lots of people, and it's like the first time in my life I've described a movie and like reenacted scenes from it, and people are like, "Oh my god!" Like it had the intended
in today's day, oh, right? Like you really delivered.
Yeah,
like that's exactly how I felt.
Because it's very easy movie to do that. It just I talk like this. Oh, I got a black guy in the back of my car, but he's okay. We're bonding over here.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My only little factoid that I have about this movie is just that the chip in Jim Carrey's mouth is his own, the chip tooth, and that he has it there. He kept it there just so he could remove that little veneer.
In real life, IRL, Jim Carrey has a chip tooth.
Yes.
And for Dumb and Dumber, and usually he puts a little cap on it.
Well, always.
For Dumb and Dumber,
took it off, right.
Yeah.
And that his haircut was inspired by Spock, which is completely obvious.
Well, you said that, and I was like, oh wow, I can't unsee that.
Well, and all the ways he dresses, all of it was very like buttoned up and weirdly formal and super like.
Why Spock?
That was a childhood hero of his.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. This is not a Spock-like character at all.
No, but the haircut is like from another planet, literally. So he just wanted. The hair was very important, and Jeff Daniels' hair bothers me now as much as it bothered me then. It's like it just needs to be brushed. All they could think to do with his hair was like tease the bangs. Like he's wacky. Just do this. Yeah, it bothered me.
I remember when I would hear about this movie as a kid. I remember I always paired it with Beavis and Butthead in my head because it was just like blank and blank, I assumed that their names were Dumb and Dumber. I also think I thought it was a cartoon.
What? How old were you
like
with
the
these thoughts?
Of Dumb and Dumber. I don't know. I was 33. I don't know.
Shut up.
No, I don't know. I just that struck me in the movie because while watching the movie, one because it has a very similar plot structure to a movie we covered before, Beavis and Butthead Do America, where some idiots get wrapped up in a like criminal scheme unbeknownst to them, and their idiocy allows them to triumph.
Horrible. Boring movie.
That's a great movie.
It's not at all. There's no heart. It's mean and it's boring. It's like butt jokes funny, but not with heart. You have to have heart with
you
your
have to have heart in your Beavis and Butthead.
You do. It's the only thing that redeems it.
You think Dumb and Dumber has heart?
Yes, it's full of heart.
Where?
In Harry and Floyd's. Yep, relationship. And in that Mary's really
they kind of hate each other. They want to
But they are destined to be together. They get each other. There is nothing more Lloyd than Harry and more Harry than Lloyd. The fact that they found each other is probably what also ruined them, but they would have been alone.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree actually.
And Mary Swanson. I'm sure I realized this then, but it's now really trying to examine movies and the kind of people that are allowed to be in movies. She was complicated in a way I didn't notice before, in that she's going through an extremely stressful time, but she's really nice. Like she's rich.
What is she going through?
Oh, well, the whole movie is wrapped around the idea that her very wealthy husband has been kidnapped so that they can give ransom, and so he's captured somewhere, and she doesn't know if he's going to be returned at all or safe or whatever this whole time. I mean, they don't play that up too much. They kind of let you forget about it, but
no, it's kind of, I think it was pretty elegant actually the way it's set up. In the background, not really told to you, like you have more information than Harry and Lloyd, but like not that much more. Right? It starts with Mary going in Lloyd's limo because he's a chauffeur, and she leaves the briefcase in the airport, and you don't know what the briefcase is or what it's for.
But you know right away what it's for.
I mean, you could be, but you could think like, oh, she's a terrorist, or
oh, sure. But I mean, then the next scene, I like that they don't make the bad guys they don't make the plot that big of a deal. Like they could have used it as a twist to reveal that Nick was behind it all along, the family friend with the
You're saying all these names. I don't know any of these
I'm
names.
sorry.
I'm just like
Nick is
the one guy and the lady.
Right. I'm sorry. Okay. So friend of the rich family, Nick, who seems to be helping organize getting her husband back. And, her stepmom and dad just love Nick. He's just so chiseled and rich, but apparently not too rich to invent a whole scheme to, right. So he's actually bad, but they don't, like, you find that out immediately. It's not like it's not about him. It's about Harry and Lloyd, who's not named Floyd, as it turns out.
And so Lloyd is Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Lloyd falls in love with this woman instantly. You get the sense he falls in love with any woman who will talk to him, and
in fact, that's the distinction that he made. That's the only thing he said, that besides she was beautiful, she actually talked to me, Harry.
I get
the end.
I don't like I really hated about Ace Ventura, and what puts me off in this movie is I just don't feel like the Jim Carrey character that he's playing, like, he shouldn't be sexual. Like, he shouldn't have sexual desires. It's creepy that he does. Where like he looks at her ass and like he's like, no, this guy's a child. He's not thinking about wanting to fuck ladies. It was way more explicit in Ace Ventura. And then, of course, Ace Ventura goes in horrible directions where it's like, he fucked a trans woman. He's going to vomit forever.
It has issues. There's a blowjob scene.
Dumb and Dumber did. I was pleasantly surprised at how few homophobic, transphobic jokes there were.
Me too. I expected there to be riddled with them, or at least with lots of like sexist things. And I mean, it's a boner comment. I mean, it's a guy going to get a lady that he's fantasizing about her naked butt. So
yeah, I have a hard time connecting to these like sort of, I guess, sketch driven movie. Like this feels like something that could have started as a sketch comedy. Like they could have been playing these characters on SNL and then let's build out a whole movie. Like Clifford, which a movie I hated, where I'm like, you can't. I have a hard time just thinking of this as a movie. I can't sit down and watch it as a movie because, like, this is not a movie character. This is something that should only exist as, like, in like a 3 or 4 minute clip.
I feel like Harry could only exist in a long format like this. I don't feel like he was interesting and don't feel like he was wacky enough.
I wasn't thinking like it was all Jim Carrey. It was just all his energy that I'm like, I can't handle this, I don't think. And for like 30 or 40 minutes, I wasn't thinking like this sucks, but I wasn't laughing. I felt like this doesn't have that much energy. I appreciate the performances, but then when they get to Aspen, like, suddenly, like, I don't know what it was, but it was like 20 minutes left in the movie, and I was like, I've been laughing a lot. I really like these guys. I really like this movie.
Aspen changes it.
I don't know what changed. I think I started to really like these guys, really like their relationship, really like the way they go about the world. But what I really, really liked was Jeff Daniels' performance.
That's when
he becomes like the star of the second half of the movie, and that's the parts that I really loved. Like, he's just like that. He's so joyous. His performance as a guy who's an idiot but doesn't think of himself as an idiot,
right?
And he can fake it much better than Jim. He can fake being a smart person more than Jim Carrey can. Even though Jim Carrey has like schemes that work throughout the movie, like when they get the guy at the diner to pay for his food, like that's a pretty elaborate plan that he just came up with and executed pretty well.
It is.
Yeah.
But he's also the more evil of the two of them too, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He sold a dead parrot to a blind kid.
Parakeet. Yeah, pretty bird.
No, but why is the blind kid in a wheelchair? Like they're doubling
more
down.
Tragic.
Yes. And I never noticed how thick the the electric tape. What do you call it? The gray tape. What is that called? Duct tape. I never noticed it's an inch thick. Like he wrapped and wrapped. Like so clearly, Petey had to have felt this giant rubber thing around the head. It's fine.
Yeah.
I do.
You even know the kid's name?
I do. Oh, sorry. No, Billy is the kid. Petey's the bird. I did remember right away how much I hate the villain woman. Hate's a strong word. She just sucks. She's not a good. She's too. Yeah, but maybe that's the point. So you could just be like, okay, she's bad.
I don't
Check
even know
her
who
off
you're
my
talking
list.
about. This is
The two people that are supposed to collect the briefcase and the money, and then they end up going after Lloyd and Harry to try to get the case.
Yeah, the man.
One's a woman. One's a man.
Who plays that man?
I don't know, but he's been in a lot of stuff. He's always like a extra mobster something.
Mike Starr. Who is that guy?
Reminds me of Michael Mann. So that
Goodfellas, Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, gangster movies.
There's something I know him from, like specifically though. But yeah, no, that he's just like a great. I really like his performance. He's scary.
He is scary. But easy to defeat, which I like.
Yeah, and he doesn't care that much.
No, he doesn't. Right, he doesn't like the guy he's working for.
He's doing a job. His heart's not really in it.
Mm-hmm. And he's dealing with an Elsa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But she's too. We're gonna whack him. Like she's just too much for me. Funny, and her bangs are always greasy. Wash your hair.
Yeah, you know, like every micro detail of this movie. I barely remember. I didn't even think to develop an opinion of her. She seemed so extraordinary. I don't know.
Wait, so I mean, are you going to give me a rating on the movie?
Give you a rating?
Well, I mean, so that means you liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I don't think it's a great comedy, but it's pretty well made, and I really love the Jeff Daniels performance. And this is definitely the most I've been able to like. I like Jim Carrey's performance at the end of the day. For an actor from this period of his career who I do not like to watch, right. This was like the closest I've come to really enjoying him.
Breaking my heart.
But having someone to play off really helps, yes. And having somebody who balances him, not in. Agreed. Just by being a little more real.
Like he's the bridge. Jeff Daniels is the bridge between what does not seem like it could exist, Jim Carrey, and then what is that our experience. So it's like and they have a way of almost making the quote unquote normal people seem abnormal, and maybe that's because they put it in the setting of Aspen, so you already kind of feel like these people don't have much to offer. There's no stakes for these people. Who cares if they're assholes and crazy around them and spending money like they are? Like they're just doing what these people. They're at least making a spectacle. These people are bored.
That's a good point, and a really smart choice by the Farrelly brothers to set it there rather than set it like at a school of deaf and blind kids. Like, yeah, this is punching up. This is what you're supposed to do. With
exactly.
comedy.
Well, and that's why the Aspen part is so refreshing, because you start to think it's going to be a movie about they're never getting there, but then halfway through they do, or like I don't even know if it's halfway, but and then their whole like we already know what these guys look like when they don't have money, and that's kind of a bummer. We're watching them just make bad choice after bad choice. Jim Carrey's never going to be good with money, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a position where something that will never actually happen to them. They have all the money they could ever want for a moment. And what does that look like with these guys? So you get to see a completely different set of actions based on the same personality quirks, and that's like a second wind that you don't usually get with other movies. Their lives don't immediately change that quickly, and then the rest of the movies like that. And they don't make you deal with really what happens afterward. I mean, they just reset, I suppose, but...
Well, at the end, they, at the end they solve the case or whatever, and
Mary still really likes them, and she calls Lloyd the most kind, or whatever she calls him, man I've ever met. Really? He didn't earn that.
Well, she was going through a tough time. She was really stressed out and scared, and he, made her laugh a little, lightened the load.
Harry did, not Lloyd.
Oh, sorry. I got them mixed up. Oh no, that guy's he's a demon.
But
yeah,
he brought her the case, and that's who she. And you kind of need her to still like him at the end so that you can feel like Harry's not going to be, Lloyd's not going to be heartbroken forever and he can move on.
Mm-hmm.
And he does.
He does.
He doesn't do anything shitty to the husband. You know what I mean? Like,
although he imagines that he does.
oh. Ooh.
Counterpoint, he imagines it.
Minority Report.
Yeah. I like that. I like that the movie ends with them just walking on the road. Like,
and making one more bonehead move.
Well, just in the they're destined to do this forever, these two.
Right.
They'll have an adventure and then it'll just end with them walking on the side of the road because that's all that can happen. It makes you think like, oh, this should be a whole series of films. Now they're getting up into mischief in Davos, Switzerland or whatever.
They will never capture that magic, though.
But yeah, they made a sequel. Did you see
No.
Dumb and Dumber 2, T.O.?
No, nor Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, well, that one so they made
That's
the
a prequel
without the involvement of anyone from the original Dumb and Dumber. But then in 2014, the Farrelly brothers did make with the actors Dumb and Dumber 2.
That recently? No.
It was 2014, yeah. Just 4 years before Green Book, Really
anyway, what's the IMDb on that? Or, I mean, do you know at all, the buzz?
I know that fans don't like it.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
But I remember watching this interview.
I'm a fan.
Jeff Daniels was on a late night show, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, and then they surprised him by bringing out Jim Carrey.
Aww.
And he was so happy. Jeff
Aww.
And they're sitting together and they're goofing. They love each other.
Goosebumps.
And I don't know, the host brought up Dumb and Dumber 2, and he's like, yeah, people don't like that one, or the critics didn't like it. And Jeff Daniels was just like, screw them. He's like,
they just enjoy
I'm just
each
happy
other.
to be to have made a picture with my friend Jim.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Jim Carrey having friends or people. He just can't.
But maybe Jeff Daniels is a lot too.
He seems like an excessively normal person.
Fine, but there's a part of him that wants to get goofy. I mean, he gets to explore. This is exactly why these movies mean so much to me. Jim Carrey on the screen was the first time I saw something I thought made sense that I could do. I was like, that is how I feel like I'm funny. I am crossing the line all the time. I'm experimenting all the time, and I'm using my body. I hurt myself. Sometimes I'm the most annoying person in the room, but when I get it right, I get it right. And so seeing him on the screen, I was just like, I'm going to do that. There's a place for it.
Do voices?
All of it. Not voices. He'll do a voice every now and then, but it's not his.
Oh, but he changes his.
Yeah, he does a silly voice out of the blue. That's different. He's not going to have an accent the entire movie. That's not what I wanted to do. Just wanted to. I wanted to just throw shit at the wall and see what stuck.
I was trying to look at Jeff Daniels' filmography and figure out had he done any like. There's nothing else like this on.
No.
Well, Something Wild. Have you ever seen that movie? Jonathan Demme movie with
Oh, I don't know.
With Melanie Griffith and Ray Liotta.
That actually sounds really familiar.
She's like a former bad girl, and he I'm trying to remember. Jeff Daniels is like a stuck-up Wall Street bro, and then they meet each other by chance and have a road trip adventure together.
I don't think so.
He's pretty goofy in that, but
he was in Terms of Endearment, right?
He was. That was very early on. He's so good. He's so good in that. And Purple Rose of Cairo. He's it's this Woody Allen movie where he plays a 1930s movie star who comes out of the movie screen and starts a romance with Mia Farrow. Yeah,
he's good. It's just when I was younger. I'm sorry. I feel like I've said that he's not good. I do enjoy Jeff Daniels. I just when I was younger didn't appreciate him as much.
It's the quieter one, but I mean, it's so. I'm going to put this clip. There's this part. When they're in the hotel room and they're talking, and he's as he's talking, he just stands up and runs around in a circle, celebrating. And I just thought it was so.
In what movie?
In Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah. But why does he do that?
I don't even remember. I just God, this is so good. He's having so much fun. I don't know.
And you didn't even groan and moan to the shit part that I thought you were going to be so obnoxious when that happened.
What part?
The diarrhea part.
Why did you think I would be?
You don't like toilet humor.
No, I don't.
And it's gratuitous.
Why do you say that? I don't know that I have a firm
you don't
bring
like
that
farting.
toilet humor around me.
maybe because it's so relatable to like have to go to the bathroom at a very inopportune time. So like as adults, we could appreciate it more. But as a kid, I always remember thinking, all right, this is excessive.
It's funny. That's like one of the only parts of the movie I remember.
Yeah. It's
not
on
that
all
funny.
the promos and stuff.
I guess I feel like I don't know that this guy would care that much about this. Like, I feel like he would just be like, oh, the toilet's not flushing, and then just leave the bathroom.
I think he's already proven himself to care about getting laid.
Well, maybe he's a better person than me, because I would just leave and be like, they're not going to know who did that.
Yeah, you were already found to be in the bathroom.
Yeah, but like, she's not going to discover it until later, and by that time, I'll have had my way with her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. She's a married woman.
And then I'll be, well, yeah, but he doesn't know that. He thinks that
Yes,
they're about
he does know that.
At that point in the movie, doesn't he think that they're going to have a date together that night?
Oh, I guess I assume that. Why did I think that?
And he thinks that they're
he thinks that they're
like
an item.
their ski slopes adventures are like romantic, where she's like, this is just a fun, goofy guy who's keeping me entertained.
Why does she never disclose that she's married to them?
I think when
Because
they're
then that would-
kidnapped at the end of the movie.
I know that, but that's just weird. I completely. Maybe it's beside the point, because to me, she's still a married woman going on dates. But I mean,
she's not. Going
I don't know why.
Wait, are you like Mike Pence? Like, no married woman should hang out with a man?
No. I don't think I ever realized until right now that neither of them knew she was married until it's at the end. Right, because he says, "What was all that 1 in a million talk?" Right. Yeah. As soon as we know it, I just feel like they know. I don't know. Anyway, I guess it was beside the point for me.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them, neither of them are going to get her, so there's no stakes again. It's just like, this is just going to be fun to watch.
So, I don't know. Good movie. Good. Thanks for picking it.
All right.
That was a good choice.
Yeah.
What do you think of... so what are their other movies? They have Kingpin. There's Something About Mary.
The Farrelly brothers. I like Kingpin. I remember liking it. I loved Something About Mary.
I've seen it. I don't remember it.
I don't know how I feel about it now. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Cameron Diaz.
Is it a load-bearing beam?
No, but is it The Sweetest Thing? What is it? I have a different Cameron Diaz load-bearing beam.
The Sweetest Thing?
The Sweetest Thing.
That's the one with Christina Applegate?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What about Me, Myself, and Irene?
No, I did not. And I don't ever like it when Jim Carrey has a voice the whole time. It makes me super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like when he's mean.
That's the thing. That's one of the things that puts me off about him is this guy's mean. This guy's an asshole.
I like a bit of asshole because I'm a bit myself. But when he's just this, I don't know. I just didn't buy his character in that movie.
And then they did Shallow Hal,
which it's super problematic at this point, right? Like,
no, I'm sure it's great. sure it's very woke. Stuck on You.
I never saw that one.
Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear are conjoined twins. People, I remember Roger Ebert giving that a good review.
All right.
I don't know. All right. So, yes, this has been Load Bearing Beams. My name is Matt Stokes.
I'm Lacey Roth.
Thank you for listening.